by 25%. When Jesmond Synagogue was opened in 1915, there were approaching 3,000 Jews in the city. Today there are 1,600. And in this synagogue, 70% of the congregation are over 65. It's one of only 2 Newcastle synagogues where once there were 4. And even their days are numbered. As maintenance costs rise and the population falls, the community is being forced to centralize all its religious and educational premises on one site in the very near future.
If you worship at a synagogue for many years, and there have been people worshipping at synagogues for 50 years, and they are beautiful synagogues, they're going to regret very much that they have to go. But the economic facts of life, unfortunately, cannot be gainsaid. And as a result, we are developing this site. The building here, the existing building, will be utilized for youth and education facilities. We'll have our day school here, our nursery school, some adult activities. We'll have plenty going on here. And eventually, perhaps in a year or 2, we hope to develop the site to the east of the existing building, where we can have a synagogue, and hopefully in a few years' time we will all be in one spot.
At the stage table, we talk about our redemption and freedom, but are we really free? Isn't it just relative?
As so often when a community loses people, the remainder generate more and more activities to bind it together. The Jewish Youth Study Group meets once a week. In the absence of a Jewish secondary school, it's an important meeting place for young people in a religion where marrying outside the Orthodox faith is discouraged.
That's all to do with being slaves in Egypt.
But how many will stay in Newcastle to carry on this distinctive way of life? For a variety of reasons, the likely answer is not many.
I'd like to go somewhere where there's a good centre for medicine, and also somewhere with a large Jewish community. Somewhere like Manchester or London. I don't want to stay in Newcastle. Definitely not.
I'd like to study law at university. I'd like to think that once I'd been there, I'd to settle in the northeast. It's a nice place, and type of profession I'd like to take. I've seen a reason if I lived in Leeds or in Manchester, Newcastle. I mean, I like this place very much. I've seen a reason why I shouldn't move.
There aren't enough opportunities up here. The Jewish community is dwindling, and although I feel very sad about it because I like it up here, there's just not enough to keep me here, I don't think. And I'd like my children to have a proper Jewish sort of community to grow up in, with plenty of opportunities of meeting Jewish people.
I wouldn't mind staying here if there were jobs and if the community wasn't dwindling. But it is probably because everybody's got the same sort of attitude as I have.
I see my future in a larger city such as London, in a larger Jewish community. Mainly because I would like my children to be Jewish, and I see myself as much more likely to marry somebody Jewish, of meeting somebody Jewish, in a community such as London or perhaps even Leeds.
This is perhaps the most crucial of the community's problems. As young people leave, the means of replacing the existing population evaporates. Till this spring, there had been no Orthodox Jewish marriage in Newcastle for 3 years.
An Egyptian took it. As soon as he put it in his mouth, it turned to blood. We can't conceive that the...
No such problem across the water in Gateshead. This is the 4th traditional open-air wedding in a month. The bride's a Gateshead girl, the groom's from London. But their eventual home will be in Israel. Even in Gateshead, many young people leave, but here there are countervailing factors which bring stability. Families tend to be larger, and although the settled population is under 1,000, there's a constant influx of students, many of whom marry and start their own families here. The continuity of the strong traditional community is assured. Faced with falling numbers, Newcastle, once by far the larger, is increasingly forging links with Gateshead. Each week, up to 50 or 60 men, half from each side of the river, meet in Newcastle for a session of intensive Jewish study.
Our parents Elon, on the fruit of the tree, I may say by reprobates. He is powerful who has created the produce of the tree.
The ordinary thing was really just like coals, and you set things on top of it. He didn't concentrate the heat by having walls. Only that would have the walls.
It's called Project Seed. It's a rapidly spreading Jewish educational movement, and Gateshead is its European centre.
Very often, owing to business or professional commitments, a person tends to neglect his Jewish studies and as a result forgets a lot of what he's learnt in his youth. We are trying to redress this situation through our method of one-to-one partnerships. Each person receives his own partner and together they study any Jewish text of their choice.
It doesn't stipulate the size of class either.
I'm extremely happy with the progress of this project here. The mere fact that SEED has now been going for 2 years and the people have been coming back week after week